All right, what's going on, y'all? So this is a video pertaining to NBA sports injuries and whether or not they are scripted or a scripted part of the game. Now, y'all see I have Rajon Rondo's name typed in the calculator, and you see the four main ciphers: English ordinal, full reduction, reverse ordinal, and reverse full reduction. Now, I came across this whole thing about like sometime late last year in 2020 when I was reading this article about him and his girlfriend getting into altercation with a woman that was parked too close to his car in the parking lot, and she refused to move it. And you get down here, well, I'll show that to y'all after I break down my whole point of Rondo. So, Rajon Rondo, for those of you that don't know, he was a member of the Chicago Bulls in 2016, 2017. And in the 2017 playoffs of the first round, they played the Celtics. Y'all remember that's the same year, that's the same series in which Isaiah Thomas had lost his sister. And the Bulls went up 2-0 in the midst of Rondo being in the games. And there were speculations that they might get swept. Now, after game 2, Rondo had been sidelined for the rest of the series due to a fractured thumb, if I'm not mistaken, or a broken hand. I think it was a fractured thumb. And in game 3, they had a pregame interview. It was either the postgame interview of game 2 or the pregame interview of game 3, in which they asked Rondo about his hand injury. And he said that he didn't even realize that it happened. He said he don't remember what play it happened on. He said that it must have happened on a loose ball when he was going for a hustle play or something, and he didn't even realize it because his adrenaline was rushing. And I was like, okay, yeah, your adrenaline might be rushing and all that, but for you not to remember what play it might have happened on, or even to have some kind of recollection on what might have caused it, made no sense to me. Like if a ball gets thrown, for those of you that play basketball, you get a jam finger, dislocated finger, all that kind of stuff, you gonna know. Trust me, you gonna know. And so it kind of threw me off that he didn't know anything or have any memory of when it might have happened or what play might have caused it. So anyway, fast forward to this article right here, because I had my speculations on that. I originally thought they just told Rondo to play act like he got hurt so he could sit out for the rest of the series and the Celtics could come back and win, which they did come back and win. And that was my speculations at first. Because I've always thought that I had always thought that injuries kind of were like odd, how they come up and stuff, with these players. So anyway, fast forward to 2020, because this happened like late. This happened in like right after you remember the bubble went all the way into October. So this happened in like December of 2020, and Rondo and his girlfriend got an altercation with this girl who parked too close to Rondo's car. And so, yada, you get down here to the bottom, and it says right here, the defendant claims that Jashari apparently refused to put on a mask. I mean, refused to put on a mask, right, because they got to push that corona narrative. But anyway, or ever even move her car and wasn't in any assigned parking spot. And then it says right here, Rondo's lawyer claims that the NBA star was hesitant as he had a fractured thumb, hence nudged her with his elbow. So after I read this article right here, I said, man, this is the icing on the cake. You know what I'm saying? This got the door all the way open now, And so I went back to Gematria after I read this article, and I went ahead and typed in his name, but I also put in hand injury. And I want y'all to see exactly what happens when I do this. So you take Rajon Rondo and you paste hand injury there, and watch, Gematria will not change at all. It's the exact same as his name. Hand injury and Rajon Rondo are the exact same. And I'm gonna show y'all one more time so y'all don't think I'm BSing with y'all. So hand injury is there now. I'm gonna cut, and I'm gonna paste right here. Rajon Rondo hand injury. The Gematria does not change. So Rajon Rondo's name equals hand injury in all four of the major ciphers English ordinal, full reduction, reverse ordinal, and reverse full reduction. So supposedly, sports injuries, especially across major leagues, are scripted. Now, for those of y'all that don't know, Gematria basically entices that words or ensues that words or numbers. And so, therefore, if I say Rajon Rondo's name, I'm basically saying hand injury too, or anything else that might equal his name. So maybe it's not even like a script. Maybe it's more of like a predetermined type thing. You know what I'm saying? But either way, it kind of is crazy to me because now that means that a lot of his injuries were scripted, especially in 2017 when they played the Celtics, and he had to sit out for the rest of the series with a hand injury. So that's the first instance of which I found this out. Now I'm gonna show y'all two other players. TJ Ford, people might not remember him, but he was a player. I think he played for the Bucks and the Pacers, and he had a lot of paralysis issues. He would always get short-term paralysis. So when it came down to it, I was watching a video on, I think the guy's name on YouTube. His name is Cosgrove Productions. He makes like different NBA videos and stuff with voiceovers and stuff, and then I guess dialogue or whatever, his own little take on the videos and stuff, or narration, I guess you would say, for lack of better words. But anyway, I was watching his video on TJ Ford, and he talked about every time that TJ Ford had gotten short-term paralysis. The first time was he was playing against a bunch of football players at his college right before the draft. And he went up for a rebound, basically got put on his back, and he said he felt a hot sensation and everything he just lost feeling in his lower body, in all of his body. And then they took him off on a stretcher. He went to hospital, regained his ability to walk and all that again and feel. Fast forward, he had this same instance happen 3 other times in the NBA where he fell on his back and ended up getting short-term paralysis. And I started to think to myself, I said, well, what about his name? So I was thinking about it. If you take the term paralysis now, he always got short-term paralysis. I mean, paralysis means you will never gain the ability to walk again, or if you do, it takes a long time to regain that ability. Because there's some people who become paralyzed who regain the ability to walk over like years of therapy and rehab. So shortened paralysis means that it'll only be for like a short instance. Maybe an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours or so. But anyway, so I thought about a term that would be the same. Like if shortened in other aspects means to abbreviate. So if you take the word paralysis and you shorten it, you can shorten it to paraly. And the word paraly is the same as pretty much parlay. But if you take paraly, which is for shortened paralysis, and you put it in place of TJ Ford's name, I want y'all to see his gematria. Put it in place of TJ Ford's name and watch what happens. They're the exact same. Shortened paralysis or paraly is the exact same as TJ Ford's name. And so this is another way or instance in which I found that sports injuries could possibly it's highly possible that they're being scripted. You take TJ Ford's name, put it in place of paraly, it does not change whatsoever in any of the 4 major ciphers. So that's another instance in which I found that. Now, the last one has to do with Steph Curry. Now, y'all know Steph Curry's injury. His main injury has always been his ankles. He's always had bad ankles. So fast forward to him, I took his name and put in foot injury because ankle has to do with your foot. And I took that. You see his name equals 153, 54, 117, and 54. Take foot injury and put it in there and see what happens. It's the exact same. I'm not playing with y'all, man. I'm not making this up. This is the exact same. I want y'all to see because I can put a letter in there, take it off, and it stays the same. So you see if I put Steph Curry's name in there again, cut it, and pasted in place of foot injury, you see it does not change whatsoever in any of the four main ciphers. So these are three instances in which I saw that maybe their sports injuries are scripted in some way, shape, or form, especially when it comes to determining games and shifting the momentum of a series. Because in the playoffs, this is when it really matters the most, when the scripts get ran. Now, you can get scripts ran during the regular season, for maybe division titles and all that kind of stuff. But they're more so going to matter during the playoffs. So looking at it here, it's kind of crazy to me how even injuries can be scripted. Now, I already know the game is scripted. I already know the players throw away games and oversell and underselling their shots to purposely miss. But when it comes down to injuries, you wouldn't think they'd be faking on those. But you see here, I gave y'all three instances in which there are three players that have scripted injuries pertaining to their name. And it could possibly affect how a certain series turns out when these players are involved. Now, TJ Ford, I don't think they ever made the playoffs with him, but still, he had some of the worst luck when it came to sports because he always was getting paralyzed. And it would end his season and then ultimately end his career. But at the end of the day, man, I just wanted to show y'all that if y'all can think of any other players that have one set injury that they tend to always get. I mean, like, for example, like Steph Curry, he always ends up getting ankle injuries. Rondo always ends up getting hand injuries. TJ Ford always ended up getting short-term paralysis. If y'all can think of any other players in the NBA, in the NFL, that always get a certain injury, it's like it continuously comes back around or reoccurs, put those players' names in the comments, and maybe I can look into them and see if their names are scripted as well. I try to think of other players, but I can't really think of any. But like I said, three instances that I just showed y'all. Let me know what y'all think in the comments, and I'm going to leave this video here. Until next time, I'm out.